real success as the fabulous horse riders and their horses do today. Here at the World Championships are found strides with perfection to make affordable, high-quality healthcare providing as accessible for as many as possible. Orifam is the cross-sponsor of Dressage at the World Championships 2022 Orifam Healthy Days. And also our presenter from President has some messages for you. Let's make room for people. President is a Danish manufacturer of vacuum solutions with a sign to produce high-quality toilet seats. And since 1975, they also developed and manufactured flexible and adjustable vacuums and kitchen solutions for people with reduced mobility. We want to encourage the opportunity to live your best life, and with the proper age, you're better able to take part in everyday activities. That's what we mean when we say let's make room for people. So it's the Orifam Healthcare FEI World Dressage Team Championship presented by President for grade 2. About to start the competition will be judged with Judge Jeanette Wolf from Netherlands, Judge Erik Lermuir from Norway, Judge C. Christy Wasabi from the United States of America, Judge John Robinson from Great Britain.
And we welcome you back to the BB Horse Arena, this time ready for the Grade 2 class for the team competition. This morning we saw the Grade 4s compete, the first class to go, ready for this team competition, and we had some incredible results. So the team competition taking place over the next 2 days, the scores from today and tomorrow counting towards this, 18 teams competing for those qualifying slots for the Paris Paralympic Games in 2024. The top 7 teams going forward for that. So this competition being the first qualifying opportunity for these teams. And the start list for this Grade 2, Georgia Wilson will go first in for Great Britain. Peppo Pook following for Austria in this first group of 7 riders going forwards. We have seen some very high scores so far this morning, and this class is going to be very exciting as well. Great Britain's first rider going forward, British Georgia Wilson on Sakura. Great Britain taking the gold medal at the Tokyo Paralympic Games last year. Georgia coming home with those 2 individual bronze medals with this lovely chestnut mare, just 8 years old. Sophie just leading her in. Georgia trains with Sophie Wells, who's also competing here in the Grade 5, silver medalist from yesterday with her horse Donkara. Georgia finishing just outside the medals on that first day with this mare. Georgia, a big smile on her face as she's going around. Georgia is a very, very good competitor. She loves competing. She loves being in the arena. And this will be the first rider for Great Britain going forward now. Let's see what she can do. So entering the arena for Great Britain, Georgia Wilson and Sakura. You can see her just taking her time, not being rushed by the bell there. Just putting that extra circle in and taking that time to set the horse up before starting the test. Georgia put in a really solid performance in the individual on day one. She is such a calm and cool customer. Member of the silver medal winning team in Rotterdam in 2019, that Europeans, her championship debut. And Sakura, or Suki as she's known at home, really staying with Georgia for the start of this test, really listening. Showed some good trot work to start. Really hoping that she can deliver a really strong test for their team. Oh, really good, just squared up there in that hole. Georgia riding with those two whips just to get that back up that leg aid to make up for that weakness that she has, doesn't have full strength. So those whips just backing up her communication with the horse. Really nicely into trot there. And this horse just carries herself so nicely and stays in a really nice, consistent connection. Really nice rhythm. Back to this 20x40 arena for the grade 2s. They just walk and trot in their tests after the grade 4s that showed that canter work. Georgia showing some really consistent work, not throwing any marks away. Just that turn onto the 3/4 line for that leg yield. You just see her asking the horse to move across. Yeah, well done, Georgia, just catching that left shoulder there. The horse wants to stay, you want the horse to stay parallel in that leg yield. Which she does really nicely, just setting her up in the corner. Georgia really just keeping the balance with this horse into this serpentine, so looking at the suppleness of the horse, the change of bend, the movement from side to side, checking it's even, keeping the rhythm the same. There's a lot of transitions in this test. It's really testing the horse's adjustability and how nicely it can flow from transition, from pace to pace within those transitions. Just a tiny trip, slight loss of balance there. Really quickly back though, and Georgia riding for that bigger trot in the medium, just needing to show some length and strides here at grade 2. And she's on that final centre line, and I think she'll be really pleased. This horse is, well done George, just squaring up in front and really nice test, really consistent from Georgia. Big pats for Suki, the British team there at the side. British supporters come out to see. And that big smile. You will always see that big smile from Georgia when she's riding. And big whoops and cheers from the side. Massive support crew out here. And big pat, Suki walking out very calmly. And well done, Georgia. Really, really solid performance for the British team.
And the scores for Bianchina Wilson and Sakura actually 72.9.
And she delivered a really consistent performance with this horse. She really rode every mark, and a really good score for Britain. Georgia E 72.941, H 74.118, C 73.088, M 71.471, and B 73.235. So that leaves her on a final total of 72.971 and into first place in this class provisionally. So a first score on the board for Great Britain, for Georgia Wilson. And Georgia went out to Tokyo last year riding as an individual, so was not on that team of 3. This time she joins them for the team competition. And a really solid score for her individually too. So there you have it, Georgia puts the first score down for Great Britain. Lee will come later in this class, and Natasha and Sophie will come tomorrow in the grade 5 and grade 3. So Britain will also have 2 scores at the end of today. But next into the arena, the silver medalist from the individual competition 2 days ago, riding for Austria, Peppo Puk, rides the 14-year-old gelding, Sailor's Blue. And Peppo riding for the team. And for that chance to ride in the freestyle on Sunday and get another individual medal. And into the arena he goes, Peppo Puk for Austria. And a good first halt from Peppo. Just saw him waiting, giving the horse time to square up in front. Just not hurrying, not rushing, took his time. And just a little bit of tension going into that trot transition. You just saw that slight hop as he went into the transition. Very quickly back into a really nice trot rhythm. And some of these riders in the lower grade, you'll see some involuntary movement and some balance challenges, and the horses have to work with that and know the difference between those involuntary movements or those loss of balance, and almost ignore them and continue to work consistently. So you'll see him really, really consistent in the frame and the contact, and very good. Just saw that correction in front to square up. And it's a really difficult balance to find those horses that can cope with any changes of balance and aren't sensitive enough to respond to them in a negative way, but are responsive enough to react to a small and light aid, because the riders often don't have a huge amount of power. And you could see Peppo there in the leg yield just using his body weight to ask the horse to step sideways under him. And this horse just shows so much elasticity in the trot, and really a nice expressive movement to scoop up those high marks. Really nice and open in the neck and the frame. A really easy looking fluid trot. And riders using their voice, using their weight to communicate with the horse. Peppo putting in a really solid test here. But just sometimes at times we're looking for that really clear 4-beat walk rhythm. Peppo, just unfortunately losing his balance there, and the horse very quickly recovering from that and showing some nice strides there, but it just affected the rhythm, it just affected the movement as a whole, which was a massive shame. And you can just see how the horse is completely in self-carriage there. He's not relying on Peppo to hold him up, not leaning on him. And just really taking that rein forward. Peppo leaning forward slightly to just allow the horse forward. So he gave a little bit of the rein, but also leant forward a little bit. If he gave too much rein, then he would struggle to get the reins back, but he is able to a little bit. Yeah, much better. And that's more the type of medium that we would see from Peppo and this horse. So such a pity about that first one, but really pulled in some marks, and a nice final halt to finish. Very well done, Peppo. And he just breathes a sigh of relief and just waits while the audience clap for him before asking the horse to move off so that he doesn't get too lit up. A really, really nice, a really nice partnership to watch here. And a solid score from Peppo, I would imagine. Peppo's so experienced, such a skilled horseman. He has such a nice partnership with his horse.
So again, a strong test from our silver medalist from Austria, Peppo.
And it's really nice to see him having success and everything coming together.
And the score from Peppo and Sailor's Blue.
And a super effort from Peppo. And we should bring you the scores for him now. Here we have them. Judge at E, 74.412, H, 76.029, C, 76.324, M, 74.265, and B, 76.176, which leaves him on a massive 75.441 and into first place provisionally. So again, a massive contribution for the Austrian team, and also a huge contribution for Peppo and his individual qualification. But there you have it. 2 scores for Austria there. 66.707 we saw earlier in the day, but Peppo's 75.441 is a very nice contribution for Austria. And next into the arena, riding for Germany, Gianna Regenbrecht, riding the 12-year-old stallion, First Sinclair. And this horse previously competed with Alka Philipp in Grade 1, so has World Championship experience. But for Gianna, this is her championship debut. She was brought in last minute as a reserve combination for Germany and finished 6th in the individual. So did a really good job, a really difficult place coming in as a reserve rider. You've got to be ready just in case you get the opportunity, knowing that you may not, but she did. And she put in a really solid performance to finish 6th, so she's really shown the German team that she deserves to be here too. So tough. The countries just have 4 spaces to select riders with 5 grades. So very competitive in these more competitive nations to even get to this championship. And unfortunately stepped back in that first halt on the centre line, which was a little bit costly, but she's pulling up the marks since that. Good, a cleaner halt, good immobility there. Again, just using that weight. And that voice aid just to communicate with the horse. She's got 2 whips just to back up the aids where she can't use her legs. And this horse, another huge moving horse. So Gianna just working to keep the horse in front of her. And it's so difficult just finding the horses that can cope with this environment but also will take the rider forwards. Really scopy stallion. And it is very hot here today. The riders out there in jackets, the horses are working. She's putting in some really solid movements here. You can see the scope of the walk, taking her time, letting that swing come through. Just needing to keep a little bit straighter in that leg. Yeah, much better second half. You want to keep the horse straight with a little bit of inside flexion, but not too much so that the horse falls out through the shoulder. And then you don't quite get that such good crossing and the horse being in balance. Some nice steps in the medium there. This horse just so scopy, and Gianna doing a really good job to try and keep the horse in balance and in front of her, trying to channel that energy. You want to channel the energy from side between the two sides so that the power comes out the front. Just a little bit at times, some inconsistency with the horse not quite working into the contact, but that's just where she struggles to connect him from the hind leg without the use of those legs to drive the horses up into that contact. It can be really difficult. When she gets it, it makes such a really nice uphill picture. Yeah, some super moments on that centre line. Oh, just outside of it in the hole, but a really, really good effort and a really solid performance for the German team. She's waving to the crowd. And a very good week she's having here. She's also riding towards that qualification for the individual freestyle, so scores combined with that test on the individual day to decide the top 8 combinations to go forward for the freestyle on Sunday, and that second chance to ride for a medal. Massive cheers coming from the Kiss and Cry box. We should get those scores through for you in a moment. Here we go. Judge at E, 72.941, H, 72.5, C, 72.5, M, 71.618, B, 70.588, with a total of 72.029%, and goes into third in this class provisionally, but also another good score for Germany after the 74% we saw in the grade 4 earlier today. So Germany with 2 scores down there now, and 2 very good scores at that. And a really, really good combination, a really good contribution to that team. And Germany with 2 riders in this grade. Heidemarie Dressing coming later on in the second group. So they will have 3 scores at the end of today. And Regine Misbulkamp coming in the grade 5 tomorrow to complete that team score.
She's a two-time Paralympic athlete from Rio and Tokyo.
But next to go in this grade 2 class, representing Japan, Mitsuhide Miyagi, riding the 18-year-old gelding Flylight. finishing in 12th place in the individual competition earlier in the week. Giving this horse a really nice ride. And it's very still here, very sunny, no wind at all with those flags, so hopefully these horses will be a little bit more settled today, and especially having come into the arena earlier in the week. We've seen it with the grade 4s. They were very happy in the arena this morning, so hopefully that can continue. Here, choosing to ride with the bar rein, so riding one-handed, and some riders will ride with just the leather from the rein so that they can feel the horse's mouth, or they can ride with this bar rein so that they can change where they put the pressure from left to right by moving their wrist. A really tricky task to try and keep that connection even on both sides when you are only riding with one hand. And a lot of it is rider preference or horse preference. Just unfortunately having some issues going into that halt, and the horse just getting upset in that rein back. And that will be a very, very expensive movement, because that obviously affected the halt and the rein back, but also that walk following the rein back and that turn onto the 3/4 line, because it took him a while to recover from that, the horse showing a bit of tension, and so that may unfortunately cost him in 2 movements rather than just that halt rein back. Some really nice trot here. The horse just having moments where, again, just that tension coming through, and been forced to make that transition a little bit later, and so that will affect the transition and the walk circle, unfortunately. But again, doing really well to get that back for that short diagonal. And it's so difficult when you're riding a horse that just feels like they want to explode. So a cleaner walk on that diagonal, on that 3/4 line, but you can see there that just struggling with the leg yield to the left, that right side clearly being the weaker side, and not oh that's a pity. Not quite getting that leg yield, and then it coming through, the tension's still there, and unfortunately that will be costly. I think that was meant to be a medium trot, so he didn't really perform that at all, unfortunately. He was still trying to get the horse back. So that will be expensive. He manages to ride this serpentine. And this horse, not really, it's so difficult when in the in the lower grades when the horse is a little bit on edge and has a little bit of anxious energy. There aren't that many. It's a very, very stop and start test, and you keep coming back to this walk section, and there aren't that many opportunities to let some of that energy out. The trot sections aren't very long when you have a horse that wants to go, which you can see there's a lot of power there and a lot of expression that he can show. And he's done a really good job just to get through that, and a really nice bang on. Isn't that typical? You do a bang on perfect square halt when you've had so many challenges. And that is dressage sometimes, unfortunately. He did a really nice job to really try and ride the movements as best he could, and when the horse allowed, and just really having to cope with the horse being hot, a little bit unsettled, and unfortunately some really expensive mistakes. But that was some cool riding to just stay relaxed, stay with the horse, keep getting the horse back. And it's just so difficult. It's there's so many transitions in this test. There's no opportunity to really diffuse the horse and let this excess energy out. There's very short periods of trot before they have to come back to walk. And here are the scores: E 51.176, H 55.882, C 53.235, M 53.235, and B 52.941, leaving a total of 53.294%. So we currently have two scores for Japan. So that now going in as the potential drop score, the lower of the two scores already posted. But next into the arena, a very exciting combination for Denmark and for the team. Katrine Christensen, the gold medalist from the individual 2 days ago, and she comes forward on the 14-year-old gelding Guerklingards Quater. And Katrine posting a huge score yesterday to take the win, and she has had some super scores this year, up to 77%. So 75.788 yesterday for that gold medal ride, and that would be a very handy score for Denmark if she can produce something similar. And this horse is just lovely to watch. Just so expressive, taking the rider. It just looks so effortless for them as a combination. And she's a super rider, just sits really nicely. Just brings really nice harmony. Really good halt there. really showing that strong walk rhythm as she moves into this leg yield. Reaching the track quite early. But showing really nice crossing, really nice softness through the body, and back up into this rhythmic trot, this nice uphill picture. At times coming a bit low in the frame, and Katrine doing a really nice job of correcting the balance and bringing back that self-carriage, and that's when she gets that expression, that lovely expression. Just keeping that consistent rhythm. And into that leg yield. Of course, moving across really easily. And really, oh, just unfortunate spook there, but she really takes her time in the arena, really. Her first World Championships, she did go to Tokyo last year, but first World Championships, home crowd, and really taking her time in the arena to show this horse off. You can see that picture from the side, that really nice uphill, expressive, soft, supple. Just taking the rein. Katrine able to drop those reins to give the horse that space. To move forwards. We saw with Peppo choosing to lean forwards, not quite able to give that much room. So that really, really helps. Showing some nice steps here. I could show a little bit more, but really nice steps. And that's just because I know what the horse can do. I've seen her do it. But yeah, really consistent test, a really super halt to finish, and a very, very good performance to go forwards for that Danish team score. She took the gold medal in the individual 2 days ago. Will they be able to take home another medal for the team? I think they stand a very good chance, and this combination is going to play a big part of that. Really, really impressive. Holding your nerve. With a home crowd. A really, really exciting partnership, and what a week they've had so far. And she will almost certainly be going forward for that individual final on Sunday, but what has she done for the team? I think it might be something very impressive. And it is Judge E 76.912, H 78.382, C 82.206, M 70.735 and B 77.647, so that's a total score of 77.176. A massive score for Denmark.
I would like to emphasize that this is a silent
Wow,
for our next
what a result. She has had scores up to 77% this year, but to do it here at the World Championships in Denmark, what a performance. And a massive first score for Denmark. She flies into the lead in this class, so will almost certainly be going forward for that freestyle. Denmark with 2 grade 3s and a grade 5 to come tomorrow, so this will be their only test today. But one of those grade 3s will be Tobias Thorne Jorgensen, the current world champion. So that is a very exciting team to be watching. Unbelievable. But next into the arena, representing Sweden, Sandra Karlsson rides the 10-year-old Don Danimo. Wow, this class is heating up. And a good first halt for Sandra. The horse just came in a little bit on the forehand, dropping down in the halt. But showing some nice steps. And again in the walk, just looking for that really clear 4-beat rhythm where the horse makes that V shape where the hind footprint meets the front leg. And that not always being that clear, and again leaving a leg behind in the halt, and I think that might have been a little bit too short for the halt, but really nice transition into that leg yield, that very clear 3/4 line, and that moment where she asked the horse to move sideways. No resistance, very harmonious, very obliging. And just an unfortunate miscommunication in the trot there, with a few canter steps. Transition to that walk circle, so she was slightly on that inner track for that transition, which then meant she then had to move it further towards the centre line to fit it in. sort of in between a big 8-metre circle and a small 10-metre circle. Again, some nice steps. The second half of that leg yield. Just losing a little bit of rhythm in the trot at times, and just due to that, losing balance. Really important to have the horses in a good balance so that that can stay consistent. That serpentine, just checking the suppleness from side to side. We're looking for even bend, even spacing throughout the arena. And accuracy marks can be so important in these competitions. 5 judges. And a mark, a movement, adds up to a total of 10% difference in your final total, so you really can't afford to throw any marks away, which is easier said than done because it really is more difficult than it looks. And the horse just getting a little bit too much on the forehand still, and she's just doing her best to keep him up and in front of her.
From Sweden,
and big pats for the horse. Big pats. And lots and lots of giant hands and waving. And they've asked the audience here to do the silent clapping, which is asking them to wave at the end of the test rather than clap and cheer. So obviously some horses and riders are happy with that at the end of the test, and that's fine when people that know them do that, because they know that the rider and horse are going to be okay. But for the safety of the horses and the riders, they've asked the audience members to show their enthusiasm with the silent wave, just in case the horse isn't comfortable with it and gets upset. So for those horses that are fine, you will hear their friends and family cheering. But for some, you will just see waving. And here's her score. Judge at E, 61.324, H, 62.647, C, 63.824, M, 63.971, and the judge at B, 57.794, which puts her the second score for Sweden at the moment. So you'll just see it in brackets there. The system taking the lowest score out of the calculation at the moment. These teams with 4 riders having the opportunity for a drop score. So the lowest score, and this is done automatically at the end of the competition. Once all scores are down, the lowest score will be the drop score. So far, two scores for Sweden. After the grade 4 we saw earlier in the day. And both of their 2 riders left to go will ride in the grade 5 class tomorrow. So their team score won't be complete until tomorrow. So teams needing, with a maximum of 2 riders per grade, but they must have a grade 1, 2 or 3 rider as part of the team. And
hello.
Next into the arena, and the last rider in this group will be riding for Spain, Felix Gomez on the 15-year-old stallion Merlin. And Spain, with only 3 riders coming forward for the team, both the first 2 riders went in the grade 4 earlier today, so this is their final score. And Felix finished 10th in the individual. So also will be riding for that individual qualification slot, the top 8 riders going through to the freestyle on Sunday. And the scores from this team competition and the individual competition are combined for that to work out the final top 8. So all riders riding in these team competitions, whether they are riding for a team or riding as individuals, so that they can get that qualifying slot. Some really nice steps in the walk. We saw a little bit, the horse a little bit of tension and a bit of anxious energy at the start, but seems to be settling now in the walk. Felix riding with that double bridle with the split reins. And very nicely squared up behind in that hole. Really, a really good, when you have a horse that halts square, you can really pick up those marks. At least 2 halts in every test, and in this test there's 3, so. And just struggling a little bit in this leg yield. The horse not. So a little bit too much bend there. The horse not really showing that crossing, so the horse should be parallel in the body with a little bit of slight inside flexion, and to show that really nice crossing. And we've seen with some of the tests there's a really nice moment from riding on that 3/4 line where they transition into that leg yield, and Felix struggling a little bit there. Just having to work a little bit too hard to keep the horse in front of him. The horse just not quite showing the relaxation and responsiveness we've seen from some of them. Really difficult, much better into this one. Much cleaner walk. We move into the leg yield. And again, just struggling. Oh, horse. Just reluctant to react to the aids and stopping for an unfortunately timed toilet break. But again, a little bit too much in the neck bend, and the horse just not in that nice alignment and easy crossing. Felix having to work quite hard to get a reaction. The horse showing some really nice paces, they're just not working as easily as a partnership as we've seen some of the other combinations. Just a few miscommunications, a little bit of anxiety with the horse at times, and just making it a little bit a bit of a challenge to get through these movements. In a consistently easy way. But the horse with a lot of quality there, and if they can just refine those aids and communication and have that harmony, they will be picking up some higher marks there. But really big pats for this horse, and so much potential when we can iron out the errors. A really lovely horse and really copes with this arena nicely. And we should get those scores through, so this being the final score, team score for Spain. And here we have them, judge at E 63.676, H 62.647, C 61.618, M 63.529 and B 64.853. And they have the three confirmed scores for Spain and their final total of 188.143. That puts them into first place provisionally, because no other team currently has three counting scores. So that is their final result, and this is the current standings for the group of 7 that we have just seen. Katarina Christensen out in front for Denmark on 77.176, Peppo Poot for Austria 75.441, and Georgia Wilson for Great Britain 72.971. And we have a short break now before the second group of riders in this grade. So we will be back at 3:58. And people Cook, Sailor Blue from Austria with 150.774. Third place, Georgia Wilson and Sakura in a total score of 144.426. Fourth place, Gina Lady from Germany
with 143.090. And fifth place Felix Gomez and Herning from Spain with 129.113. And finally Santa Carson from Benino from Sweden 125.972. This is of course also very preliminary, as we have 7 riders to go still in this Oricon Healthcare API World Dressage team competition presented by Dressage, and also the second qualifier for the individual freestyle final. Now we have a short break until 2 minutes to 4, so we welcome you back. 2. First to go after the break is from Japan. Team Japan already posted a 65.463 by Katsushi Takashima and Yusef EH, and also a 53.294 by Mitsuya Miyagi and Flyby. So it's the third participant for the team of Japan.
And welcome back for the second group in this grade 2. Here are the current standings from the first group. Katrine Christensen posting a phenomenal 77.176 to go into the lead. Peppo Pook sitting in second, and Georgia Wilson sitting in third provisionally with 72.971. Katrine putting in that incredible test, 77% on her World Championship debut after winning the individual gold medal earlier this week. Look at that smile. And Peppo Pook also putting in a hugely solid test for a final score of 75.441 on Sailors Blue, silver medalist from 2 days ago in the individual. Gianna Regenbrett for Germany, posting a really good score on 72 earlier, but next into the arena, we have our first rider coming forward. So you see the final group here. So representing Japan, Soshi Yoshigo, riding the 14-year-old gelding Duetto. So riding for that team score. Japan already with a rider in the grade 4 this morning and earlier in this grade 2, so this will be their third score coming forward. Show riding in the grade 3 tomorrow. And the Japanese team really having made a huge effort to develop their riders, develop their squad and horsepower in the run-up to the Paralympics last year, and really paying off with how these riders are performing in the arena. Finished 11th in the individual. So again, as well as riding this test for the team score, they are also looking for that qualification spot for the individual freestyle on Sunday. So scores will be combined from this team competition and the results from the individual to get the top 8 competitors in each grade, who will then go forward for this freestyle on the Sunday. And really nice transition there from the walk on the 3/4 line into that leg yield, and you could just see the horse went into it really smoothly, and then she struggled with the alignment of the horse and the balance of the horse, and he just did a few little adjustments to get that back before asking him to move over again, and unfortunate with that little trip at the end, but really nicely looking after that balance and that straightness in the movement. And that clear transition into the walk, straight into that walk circle. There's no time for that transition if you haven't got it right on the marker, because you're straight into that circle. And this horse not always able to show that same relaxation over the back and that really clear, big, scopy 4-beat walk rhythm that some of the other horses can. But it's showing some really nice rideability and really trying for his rider. And Soshi doing really well to try and pull those marks in where he is. You can just see this way a little bit more difficult, just showing a little bit too much neck bend and losing the energy out through that left shoulder, so not quite getting that parallel leg yield. But coming forward now into this nice trot rhythm. Soshi working hard to try and keep. Yeah, you could just see there, he's just lifting his hands to try and where the horse gets a little bit down and on the rein, he's just lifting his hands, saying, stay up, stay in front of me. And this serpentine, little bit of quickening just on that turn, where he didn't quite have that same suppleness to the right, but very quickly recovered. And it's all about just pulling those marks in where you're able to and riding that really clear rhythm and really consistent test whenever the horse allows, and showing some nice stretch here. Soshi with those loop reins, so needing to lean forward to allow the horse to stretch forward, and did that really nicely. The horse coming back and accepting him taking up the contact to collect him into that medium walk. Some better walk steps there after that free walk. The horse just able to relax through the back and then step up into that medium walk. And he comes into his final centre line, a big, big smile, a good halt to finish, and big pats and hugs for Dueto. Really, really nice riding from this team. And really exciting going forward. Look at that smile, he is very happy. He gave a great ride. Look at that halt. And that's where you can really pick the marks up on that precision, the accuracy. So many marks to be won or lost on those tiny details. You can see him there, just stay up. Carry yourself, yes, and then you get that moment. Big, big smiles. Really pleased for this team. They've worked really hard, and They've got some super horses and riders. Here's the scores. Judge E 62.353, H 62.206, C 65.147, M 63.971 and B 65%. So that puts him on a final score of 63.735. You see there 3 riders have gone, and that second rider on 53 just currently highlighted as the low drop score. So the lowest score automatically is the drop score. Those teams with 4 riders with that drop score opportunity, so just takes the pressure off a little bit when you don't need to rely on all scores counting. And next into the arena, representing France, Céline Herning, riding the 17-year-old mare Rhapsody IFCE. And France already having Vladimir ride earlier in the Grade 4 and putting in a really smart test on that lovely mare of his. France automatically getting a spot at the Paris Paralympic Games 2024, but they'll be looking to put in some strong performances as they start to build their team for that home games, being the host nation. So the pressure is not on them to gain that qualification, but they will still be looking to put in a strong performance. Céline finishing in 8th in the individual on 70.940, so she will also be looking to post another solid score so that she can qualify through for the freestyle on Sunday. And you can see there just she has those 2 thigh straps over her legs to just help with the stability in the saddle. So there's very specific rules about these dispensating aids, and a really good hold there, very square, very good immobility. And riders have to apply for these dispensating aids and any amendments to tack. Just struggling a little bit in that leg yield, just losing the straightness and not quite, the horse just drifting a little bit through the shoulder to the track, not quite getting that nice crossing that we've seen, but again, a very difficult movement to ride without that use of the lower leg and without being able to pick up the horse's ribcage with that aid. And there's very strict rules with these dispensating aids and with these tack amendments. The rider and horse safety is top of the list, so those straps must be able to break if she were to be in a situation where she might fall off. They're not allowed to be tied to that saddle. There's a limit of the overlap, just for safety reasons. It's just an extra support. It won't be holding her in. And really showing some nice consistent work. This horse has shown some really nice trot work, some really nice walk here. See if she can get that leg yield this way a little bit easier. And again, just a little bit easier this way. So just using that neck bend and that whip as a backup to the voice and the leg aid, really shifting her weight over to encourage the horse to move underneath the weight. And some really nice steps here. So in the grade 2, it's not marker to marker, you just need to show some medium trot strides, but really nicely into that. A little bit of rhythm being lost on that short side going into the serpentine, but better now. Celine just using her voice to communicate with the horse. It's her driving aid. The whips there as a backup to act as your legs would. And really nice stretch there. The horse just straight away taking that rein, taking the bit forward and out. And really nicely up into trot. Not quite getting the push that she had on the first medium trot, but still really nice, keeping a nice rhythm. And a really solid test for France, and a good, very good final halt. And big pats. Big pats, big cheers from her team. And a big thumbs up. She is very happy. Big smile on her face. And the horse there just squaring up behind in that halt. Really, really pleased for her. She is having a very good week here in the World Championships. So there's just this World Championships, the Europeans next year, and then we will have the Paralympics in Paris. So this is a big part of the French team's preparation for that Games. And here are her scores. Judge at E, 74.706, H, 72.794, C, 70.588, M, 70.882, and B, 72.647. So that leaves her on 72.326. So just behind Vladimir Vinchin, who went in the grade 4 earlier. So another very good score for France. Just showing such consistency. And a really smart test. Two super scores, so the system automatically highlighting that the lowest score from the team, with only 2 riders having gone, which will automatically be updated as the other riders come through with their scores. So France still with another rider left to come today in the grade 1, and their final rider, Chiara Zanatti, will go in the grade 3 tomorrow for that final total. But next, into the arena for Brazil, riding the 10-year-old mare Francis, Flamarion Pereira da Silva. just being led round there by his trainer, just trying to settle that horse. He had a very tricky ride in the individual. The horse was a little on his toes, and just trying to settle the horse before going in, give the horse confidence with someone on the ground. For some of the horses, it's a really big atmosphere here. And just that moving away from the warm-up, which is really close, you can see just in your screen, it's just behind the arena, so the horses can actually see the warm-up and the horses going round. But for some, leaving that group and coming into this environment on their own is just too much. And in this walk and trot test, there's just not many opportunities to let that power and anxiety out. They have short trot periods to help, but as you can see, very quickly then into that walk. And almost he could have done with a little bit more trot just to allow the horse some time to use a little bit of energy. That's so difficult coming back into the walk straight away and needing to ride that movement. But he's doing a really good job of just coaxing him through the test, and as best he can, really sitting quietly. You can see him there just trying to give the rein at times when he can. Oh, just really struggling with that immobility. The horse just wants to go, so sometimes you can't, it's not the right time to push that, and I think he made the right call there. I think trying to make him stand in that moment was just going to boil over, so very tactfully ridden out into that walk, and again just not quite able to get to influence a horse and get that straightness and throughness in order to get that leg yield. Having to really be very, very sensitive with how he rides and how much he asks for. And nicely up into trot, managing to hold it together. Again, just so tricky, just that circle in trot, and then back to walk, and you can see the horse just desperate to let some kind of energy out and trying his hardest just to keep it together. And this is some really sympathetic riding. Really responding to the horse. He knows not to push him, just try and keep that rhythm. And it's so tricky as riders, because what we really want to do when we feel like they're going to run away with us is just hang on, and we need to be able to give them the space, be relaxed in our own body, which is, again, really easier said than done. And just give that space. And he's been really good just allowing the rein when he can, just so that he doesn't feel too blocked. But it's really tricky when he's just trying to contain him. Again, really unfortunate there. Just too much tension for the horse to let go. And the wind has picked up a little bit now, which is a bit unfortunate because it does make those flags move, which he was having a little bit of a look at that side in that serpentine. I really feel for him. It's so tricky. He's doing such a good job here. Really riding through it. And you can see how much that horse just really wants to, really on edge and doing very well to hold it together in this test. I'm hoping that the audience do listen to the silent wave as opposed to the clapping to show their enthusiasm, because this horse is a little too on its toes. And a very no. He's saying no clapping. Thank you, but no clapping. And actually, the horse really coping well there. And I think he breathes a sigh of relief there. A little bit dry-mouthed after that test, but a really very well managed. Really did his best to just ride through the tension and try to give the horse as much confidence as possible, really quietly riding through those movements. In a very difficult situation. Managed that in a very impressive way. If I had a hat on, I would take my hat off to him, because that is a very tricky feeling as a rider, and especially at the World Championships. And the other thing, that it's not just about performing the movements, it's the safety element too.
Next up in the arena now is
And we should just see his scores in a moment.
Paralympic athletes from Tokyo with an individual fourth place and also individual fourth at the European Championship in 2019 in Rotterdam.
Riding for that Brazilian team, we saw Rodolfo picking up the bronze medal on the first day of competition and riding earlier today. And the next rider just coming into the arena now while we wait for those scores. Representing Germany, Heidemarie Dressing. She rides La Boom, the 9-year-old mare. And Heidemarie finished just behind her teammate in 7th place in the individual, so riding towards that German team score. So next in the arena, Heidemarie Dressing. And for a lot of riders, I mean for any rider, safety is an issue, and the horse is is feeling a little explosive, but particularly for the lower grade riders who don't have that strength. And the tests are walk and trot only for a reason, because it's a safety reason. And when you're riding around on a horse that feels very, very nervous and very anxious and has that energy that you feel like wants to explode, it's not just about being worried about having the test affected. It is that safety element, and it takes a lot of bravery to ride these horses in these environments, and to ride and to keep riding a horse when you do get that feeling. And Heide Marie's horse looking a lot more settled than the Brazilian's horse. And a good halt there, showing that immobility. This mare very scopy, very big movement. Showing that transition into the leg yield, very smooth, some nice crossing. She'll also be riding for that top 8 finish, so that she can go forward through to the freestyle on Sunday, ride for a potential individual medal in the freestyle. This horse still just 9 years old. But has a very good, very nice temperament, and is able to come into this arena and focus on her rider, which as a rider, I mean, we've just seen you can only ride what you've got, and if you do have a horse that is relaxed in the arena and can keep their focus on you, it makes a massive difference, and you just have so much more influence and ability to ride them to the best of their ability. Showing some really nice steps on that diagonal. This horse can really open up. She sometimes can lose her balance and get a bit low in front, but Heide Marie doing a good job today of keeping her in a nice balance, so that she can show that movement off. Again, just taking that contact forward, lowering the head and neck, taking it out and down. Showing that stretch over the back. Heide Marie just picking the reins back up and gathering her back up for the medium walk. And then up into that trot. Again, very quickly, such a shame, really started well and then just losing the balance over X, managing to get it back very quickly. But you can see this test, there's very quickly they pick up the trot and then move straight into a medium trot. There's not a huge amount of time they spend in one pace. And a really superb halt to finish. A very good performance for Heidemarie and the German team. And Le Bon just walking out on a long rein. And here we have the results from the last rider at E 52.941, H 55.588, C 54.706, M 50 and B 52.059, so a total of 53.059%. So you see there to go with Rodolfo's score earlier today, so that one currently highlighted as the drop score, with 2 more scores to come for the Brazilian team. One will be later in the grade 1 and one will be tomorrow in the grade 5, but for now we will wait for Heidemarie's score to come through. And I think she will be happy, as will the German team, because that was a really nice performance from them. And here we have it, judge at E 72.794, H 72.647, C 73.676, M 71.029 and B 75.147, which puts her on 73.059% and in third in this class, but that is also a really nice score for the German team. Third score to go forwards. Their 4th rider will come tomorrow in the grade 5.
Please welcome from Great Britain, Lee Pearson, presenting Breeza. He is the world's #1 for grade 2, winner of 9 individual Paralympics.
So another good performance for Germany there. 3 solid scores, but next into the arena will be one that a lot of people might be interested in. Representing Great Britain, Lee Pearson on the 11-year-old Breeza. Lee, part of the gold medal winning team in Tokyo last year. He himself also picked up double gold individually. And we've had the first score through from Georgia Wilson earlier in this class, but Lee also riding as a 2. And we'll be hoping to pull out a big score for the British team. Lee, incredibly experienced. Breeza just picking up on the atmosphere a little bit. It's very, very different atmosphere to here to Tokyo. Everything's a lot closer, a lot busier, a lot more people coming to watch. Entering the arena for Great Britain, Lee Pearson. Breeza just not quite getting the immobility at first, but correcting himself, squaring up, and then getting that good halt. Lee, very experienced. So that mark there showing just that, those problems going into the first halt. Judges having to take your first attempt of the movement. Don't know if it's got hotter in here or if it's just the tension, but the arena has gone very quiet. Leaving her leg behind, but Lee feeling Breezer's a little bit on his toes and a little bit tense, so choosing to just not disrupt anything and take that square in front. So again, really riding this carefully. Lee won the bronze medal in the individual just 2 days ago. Really able to manage that a little bit easier in the trot and just use that little bit of anxious energy and maintain it a little bit easier than through the walk work. He's doing a very good job using all his experience to pull out every mark he can with Breezer today for the team and for his qualification through to the freestyle. And it's looking more settled than at the start, and nicely into that leg yield this way. So a little bit of a much clearer transition into that. A little bit of tension still, but Lee really managing to contain that, and Breeze are really trying for him. Yeah, that's the trot that Lee will want to be showing off. Some really nice steps in that medium trot there, and getting this really nice picture in the trot. Lee able to ride, get into him a little bit more and really ride him. Some nice trot work, picking up the marks now. Super stretch. Breeze just taking the rein down. Lee giving him a pat, reassuring him. Unfortunate, just a little jog. Sit. Lee sitting very quietly. Showing off some really nice steps. Lee with such a strong core, really able to ride that power in the horse and harness it. And a really good halt to finish. Very good job, Lee. Very, very well managed and showed some super work there. And so much quality with this horse. Lee can ride so much expression in that trot. Really present the horse. Really riding with his body and his core and his seat. And big cheers from the British camp. Really, really solid effort there. You can just see here the scope in this trot. Lee really adding in the impulsion just to pick up those marks where he's able to.
And
here we have the scores. Judge E 74.118, Judge H 74.559, C 72.059, M 73.529 and B 73.382. So that's a total of 73.529 and a second score for Great Britain. Natasha Baker and Sophie Wells coming forward tomorrow in the grade 5 and 3. A really, really great job from Lee there, really showing his experience in presenting that horse for the team.
Only 2 more participants to go in this OE Farm Healthcare FEI
And we have a short break
competition presented by Dressage for grade.
After these 2 riders, 2 more to go in this class, and then the grade 1s will come forward this afternoon. But next into the arena, representing the United States of America, Beatrice de Lavalette, riding the 12-year-old gelding, Sixth Sense. So we saw Kate Shoemaker go earlier in the grade 4, posting a massive 75% for her team. The trainer there just running around with her to give that horse confidence. So for some horses, walking around is better. For others, trotting just lets them, just keeps them thinking forwards. Sets them up for that test in that first centre line. Beatrice finished in 4th yesterday. So just outside the medals, so she'll be looking to post another solid score so that she can qualify and go through in that top 8 to ride that freestyle on Sunday, and also to post another solid score alongside her teammate Kate Shoemaker. And the USA will have their 3rd rider to go in the grade 1 later on today, with Roxanne Trunnell and Rebecca Hart riding in the grade 3 tomorrow. Rebecca taking that bronze medal in the individual. This horse showing some really nice work for this first part of the test. We're seeing it looks more energetic, more taking his rider than in the individual. A little bit more impulsion, and she started very strongly. The judges are seeing that. You can see when the horse goes and takes Beatrice, she doesn't have to work so hard to put him in the right balance and get that uphill, just unfortunately stepping back in that halt to square up. So the horses, we're looking for the horses to step forwards into the halt, forwards thinking movement, uphill, not backwards. When they step backwards, they've halted a little bit front to back rather than back to front. Again, you see Beatrice chooses those 2 straps over the thigh just to give her some more added stability. So not holding her in, just some extra support. horse really showing some nice work today. A lot of movement, very, very big movement, and really nicely into that leg yield. You can see Beatrice just moves her weight to the left. She hasn't got that use of the lower leg to pick up that right side, but really moving her body weight over to the left so that she encourages the horse to move its weight underneath her. So really correct riding there, and showing some nice steps here. The horse just getting a little bit higher rather than opening out more for the higher marks, but it's just been really critical. Some nice trot work on the serpentine, just looking for when you change the bend, the horse doesn't almost yield out into the new bend. He actually bends around the inside leg. Some very nicely ridden work here. She's really producing a very smart test today. The horse just looks a little bit more go-y for me, a bit more natural impulsion, so that she can actually present the test a little bit more and put in that bit more extra power for the bigger movements and the bigger marks. And we just have this last trot section. There, she just uses her voice in the corner, and this is where it's actually should be harder as the test comes to an end and the horse is starting to tire, but actually that medium looked better to me. She really picked him up in the corner, really got him in the right balance, and got a nice difference there. So really, really pleased, really thrilled with that. And it was a super job. Very, very nice test from Beatrice de Lavalette.
And Beatrice, second rider from Team USA in the team competition.
And a big pat for the horse. She is thrilled. And a big cheers from the Kiss and Cry box and her supporters. And that horse is loving it. No silent appreciation for him. Thank you very much. Really very good job. And just complete focus on his rider. Really, really listening. A really great job and a good, very good second test for the United States of America. And here we have her scores for you. Just coming through shortly. Here they are. Judge at E, 73.676. H, 74.853. C, 73.235. M, 71.618. And B, 72.794, which gives a total of 73.235. And a very good score to go with Kate Shoemaker's 75% earlier, but a great score for the USA. And a very good score individually. That puts her in 4th place provisionally in this class. Just behind, we've got 3 riders who just sat behind Lee Pearson. We've got 3 riders sat on this 73%. Beatrice currently slotting into 4th, but a very good score for her as well, to secure that top 8 qualification spot to go forwards for the freestyle on Sunday and challenge for an individual medal.
Third
And this horse looks like it's getting better and better throughout the week, so that is very exciting for her.
European Championship participant in 2018 in Rotterdam and ranked as number 27 on the FEI Dressage individual ranking for grade 2, scoring 66.576 in the first quarterfinal for the freestyle final. For Team Austria, we already had Bernd Brugger and Bellaccio scoring 66.707 and Peter Cook and Sailor Blue scoring 75.441.
Okay, the final rider in this group, and to complete the grade 2s, Michaela Feringer riding for Austria. Michaela, the third rider for the Austrian team. Bernd Brugger went earlier in the grade 4 and Peppo Poo went earlier in this grade. And they also have a rider in the grade 1 later today, so they will have their final score for the team at the end of today. Michaela just entering the arena now. And she finished 9th individually, so another rider really looking to secure that top 8 placing to go forward to the freestyle on Sunday. And this lovely Haflinger. I think this may be every little girl's dream pony watching. And so nice to be showing how competitive this horse can be at the World Championships. The top 10 finish in the individual earlier in the week. Really looking for that. Oh, just an unfortunate loss of balance there, but a very good halt, just that unfortunate tiny step backwards. A very, very tiny step. Let's hope the judges are feeling generous with this. And just mark the square halt that he gave. Again, just looking for that lateral suppleness to allow the horse to go into that leg yield really smoothly, keeping the horse parallel in the leg yield so that you get that nice crossing rather than the neck bend. Again, in the trot, showing really nice rhythm. Really tricky transition into walks in this test. You have a very short space of time to get it. You almost need to have that before the marker at E so that you can go straight into that circle in walk. Really, really obedient really staying with his rider. And again, just this way, we're seeing some crossing there just at times, better towards the end, just at the start at times, just falling through that left shoulder and not quite getting that same control and alignment in the horse. But showing some good steps in there, talking for the higher marks. And really riding that cleverly. The horse doesn't have the biggest movement and ability to extend, but just bringing the horse back in the corner before and after the medium so that you can show a difference. And this combination is just really easy to watch. You really trust that the horse is going to stay with the rider, and you have full confidence in them as a combination. With some of the horses, they're a little bit on edge. You're almost a little bit worried for the rider and trying to keep it together for them, but this horse so secure in this environment and so happy to perform for Michaela. Just turning down the centre line, and another really consistent test for this combination, and a very good smile and final halt. Big smiles, big pats. So lovely to see. The cheers and appreciation in the kiss and cry box. And so nice. Walks out on a loose rein, ears pricked. Just enjoying being here today. And big whoops from the kiss and cry box as they leave the arena. 32 degrees here in Herning, and we've had some really hot competition. So here's her score. Georgia E 65.294, H 65.294, C 68.382, M 66.176, and B 65.588, which leaves a final score of 66.147. You can see those three scores for Austria, and the Julia coming forward in the grade 1 after this break. So to complete the score, Austria's final score will be decided at the end. So here are the final results for this grade 2 competition. Katrine Christensen taking the lead for Denmark on 77%. Peppo Pook sitting in second. Lee Pearson sits in the third place. And some very good scores for the team competition. Again, we're looking at these top 8. So the riders, the scores from this team competition combined with the individual competition to decide that top 8. So here we have the winning test of the grade 2. Katrine Christensen, absolutely cracking test to top the leaderboard with over 77% for Denmark, and puts them in a really strong position for the team competition. Peppo Pook pulling in some big scores too, on over 75% for Austria. And Lee Pearson riding for 73.529% for Great Britain. We've had some fantastic scores today. Just a short break before the competition continues, but here are the current team standings. Spain with all 3 riders having completed. Germany with just 1 rider left. Austria with just 1 rider left. But the Netherlands have got 2 cracking scores to contribute. Only 1 is on that list. But these are the current standings. And we will see you after the break for the Grade 1 class. We'll see you then.
Come on,